Namaste and welcome to this exciting episode of Sathology Debunking Mythology. Sat means truth, Logos means a study or science. Sathology means a science of truth, a study of truth. On the other hand, mythology means science of fake lie imagination, study of fake lie imagination. Now, in today's session, we're going to talk about Ram Rajya. There's one book released of mine, One Arrow, One Kill on Sri Ram. Must read. So you'll see how Ram Rajya actually comes about. Understand that Ram Rajya means military strength plus dharmic strength. The moral strength has to be very high. I have a very, very special guest, a very prominent civil servant in India, as well as a traveler. He travels and documents history from his lens. So without delay, let us welcome Dr. Rajesh Kumar Singh.
Namaste Aditya ji and namaste my learned viewers. It's my pleasure to meet you all again. And let me start my presentation, which I do every time.
So while you are presenting, Rajesh ji, I want to ask one question. Everybody wants Ram Rajya, but nobody wants Ram in their hearts. Why? You are on mute. You're still on mute.
Okay, now can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. So my question was, everyone wants Ram Rajya, but not Sri Ram. So why is that?
See, to be like Ram is the most difficult thing in the world. And my presentation is not moving. Now it's moving. Okay. So, namaste once again. Sorry for the little glitches. Aditya ji, you asked that why everybody wants Ram Rajya but doesn't want to be Rama itself.
No, want Ram in their heart.
Ram in the heart, if Ram is there in the heart, you will also like to behave like Ram. I mean, once you keep somebody in Ram, you start idolizing him, loving him, and it somehow influences it.
Yeah.
So slowly you start becoming that. But it's very difficult to be Ram. After all, the ideal concept or the utopian concept which everybody in the world over the time has been searching for has been beautifully conceptualized in Ram Rajya or in the character of the Ram. He is known as Maryada Purushottam. Maryada means the limit. Purush means man, woman, including. And Uttam means somebody who is the best one. So he is the epitome of what a man can be. So that kind of concept, that kind of ideals have been given by our forefather in our history. And Ram is, nobody can match Ram. I think what we must have failed somewhere to tell about his teachings. People do keep him in heart, but not the way they shall do it.
And just to clarify, what I wanted to say was following in the footsteps, because it is difficult to be Sri Ram, but at least we all want Ram Rajya, but we also need to have Ram in our heart to follow in the footsteps, not exactly become Ram.
It's very true. See, if we want Ram Rajya, so everybody has to be like Ram. Only then the world will become Ram. You can't be Ram, maybe. I mean, that is our ideal. But if even a part of him, including Sita, is imbibed unto us, we will achieve a lot. And the problems, many of the problems which we face worldwide in our daily life also as a society, a lot of them will be solved. Ideals are always difficult to achieve, but Indian traditions have given you some great ideals, which we have been talking on this channel, and we don't lack them. The only thing is that somewhere, somehow, we have forgotten or have been ignorant about them. So there is a need, continuous need to remind ourselves daily. This Satyology is also doing, and we are also contributing to it. So
Please continue.
recently only we celebrated Deepavali, the great festival after the Sahara Deepavali. And most of you must be knowing that we celebrate Deepavali when Rama triumphed over Ravana. He defeated him and came back to Ayodhya, its capital city, where he was born and where he was destined to rule. So the festival in India or the worldwide has just been celebrated. And that's why I thought that I will talk about Ram Rajya. We have been talking about Ram Rajya since Valmiki highlighted about Ram through his Ramayana. Now, let us first know who Ram is. Many of you must be knowing it, but just to give a brief introduction, Bhagwan Ram, as we call him, is the seventh incarnation or the avatar, which we call in our Hindu traditions of the supreme consciousness, that is Vishnu. As we have understood till now that the supreme consciousness is represented in the form of Shiva, Vishnu, and Brahma. Vishnu, being the preserver, comes to the land, and in Bhagavad, Sri Krishna has said, Yada yada hi dharmasya glanir bhavati bharata abhyutthanam dharmasya tadatmanam sujamyaham. So all these avatars had some purpose. It was not that because of no reason Bhagwan would come on the land. He come here not only to defeat the evil forces, but also to show that what kind of behavior a man, a human shall have or shall follow, which will help in having peace and holistic sustainable development on the earth. So here on the screen, you can see from my travels to different places in India, I have selected few, only very few photographs, which shows you an architrave from the temple which have been recovered. It was destroyed, but it is now kept in a museum. And here you can see Lord Bhagwan Vishnu in the center and his incarnations on the either side. Here Parasuram, Ram, Krishna, and others. Similarly, on a poster on temple wall, you can see some of the incarnations, Parasuram, Ram, and Krishna. So what I want to emphasize is that the Rama is depicted in all forms of art, whether it is sculpture art or through Utsav Murtis or metallic idols. Here you can see Rama here in the figure 4, or on the pillars in the temples or the posters throughout. And you go to any part of India, you will find that all these incarnations have been depicted in different form, in different way, as has been loved by the devotees. Now, what is so important about Rama? Rama has been perceived in Indian philosophy, Indian traditions, Indian history, Indian heritage as the ideal man. Whatever attributes can be possible in a man is to be there. It has been there in the Rama, and Rama is known as Purushottam. Purush is man, a man, and Uttama means the best one. So he has been ideal son, husband, brother, friend, and ideal king too. And that is the most difficult part, as we will see in our discussion here. The great devotee saint, Tulsidas, he sees Rama as joined with Sita. As is the Indian tradition, we don't segregate female and male energy of the supreme consciousness. He says, "Si Ram Maya Sab Jug Jani, Karahu Pranam Jor Jugapani." So Tulsidas, he sees Sita and Ram both, in all the human beings. So when you talk about Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam in India, it's not that somebody has said once in the ancient period in one of the Upanishads. The tradition continues. And you see when Tulsidas is writing about Rama, that is Ramcharitmanas, the great book, the great poetry, which is very common, which is widely read and worshipped also in India. So he says that I see the whole world, that is every being, as the manifestation of Sri Ram, that is Sita Ram, and I worship him. So that's the kind of legacy we have from ancient period of Valmiki Ramayana to Ramcharitmanas of Tulsidas until date. And it's not that it has stopped somewhere. There is another poet who was the main poet of the nation, of the independent India, one of them, Ramdhari Dinkar, I've already talked about. Now I'm talking about Maithili Sharan Gupta. He says, राम तुम्हारा चरित्र स्वयं ही काव्य है, कोई कवि बन जाए सहज संभाव्य. So that's the greatness of the characters of Ram. Charitra means character or the personality. So the poet says that, Hey Ram, O Bhagwan Ram, your character, your personality is so great that whosoever reads it will naturally become a poet. So there is no surprise that so many books have been written on Ramayana since Valmiki wrote the first Ramayana in Sanskrit in different parts of the country, in different languages you see, and in other parts of the world also. So that's the personality of the Ram. Now, when Valmiki talks about the characteristics of the Raja Ram, that is the King Ram or his rule, he talks about two very important aspects which you can see on the screen: Aradhanaya Lokasya and Rajyam Upasita. Aradhanaya Lokasya, Lok means people. So, worshipping people. So, a king shall worship his people, his subject. He shall not be worshipped by them. You see the concept, the kind of concept which Ram has lived. It's not very easy. So, Aradhanaya Lokasya, you have to worship the people, and Rajyam Upasitva. And the kingdom also you shall not take pride it into. You have to worship the kingship so that you take care of your subject. Meaning, it's not important for a king to take care of his own interest. He has to take care of the interest of the people, even if he has to suffer it. And that's what happened with Ram. We all know that after 14 years of exile and losing his wife and then waging a mighty battle with Ravana, he conquered and came back to Ayodhya. And when his wife was pregnant, because of complaint from one of the subjects, he had to send Sita into exile. Now, many people say that what Ram did was not correct. Unfortunately, they forget it that Ram was not separated from Sita. You see in Indian tradition, whether it's Shiva Parvati, Radha Krishna, Sri Rama, they are not separated. And Ram, as an individual, would not take care of his interest or not give priority to his own interest, but take care of the total rule which has to be taken care of in his kingdom. So he incurs a personal tragedy, personal suffering, and in the process, both suffers. Ram also suffers. Ram knows that what he is going to do is not correct on individual basis as a husband. But he sacrifices his own interest, Sita's interest. And it's not that he didn't love it. He didn't have to prove it. He remained unmarried. I mean, he was devoted to Sita till his life. He did not marry, which was very common in those days, or even in the modern days, you see people do marry very frequently. So he sacrificed not once, many a times, but this was one of the most greatest sacrifice, his individual interest for the welfare, for the benefit, for the peace of the society. And this aspect has been very well depicted in one of the dramas in Indian Sanskrit literature, which is known as Uttara Ramacharita. Bhagavati is the writer who has written it. And it shows that what kind of pain Rama would have suffered when he would have sent his pregnant wife, who was bearing seeds of the higher of the kingdoms. So it was not a very easy thing. So I will invite you all to read Uttar Ramcharita also to understand what kind of suffering Rama and Sita would have gone at individual level, but they did not talk about it. Even Valmiki did not talk much about it because Ram was the ideal person, was an ideal king, and the kind of ideals which he has presented before us, which we have inherited, is very, very difficult to follow. But even if some aspect of that we follow, the society will become a better place. That's why this concept influenced many people, or it has been influencing Indians and others worldwide. And you will also see this aspect manifested in Indian art and culture. During the different periods, you will see that Indian traditions have highlighted some very important aspects. And when you talk about Ram, you go to different places, to temples, museums, you will say one aspect which is very important is Ram's Pattabhishek or Rajyabhishek. Rajyabhishek means coronation of the Ram, or Pattabhishek, it's more popular in South India. So there are two pictures which you can see on the screen in different styles. Rama and Sita. See, what is important here is Ram is not sitting alone. He is shown everywhere with Sita. And it's not that one painter has said. See, tradition has continued not by force, because Ram has impressed, has influenced so much the Indian minds that the tradition is reflected the way it was there. Otherwise, over a period, people do change. But you see, here, Rama with Sita are sitting on a throne, and they are being coronated by saints, holy men with holy water. And that's a picture which is depicted prominently throughout India, wherever you go. I have shown you two pictures there just to show that Ram was born in Ayodhya. But if you go to southernmost part of the country, that is Tamil Nadu or Kerala, and it's a very modern picture, 18th, 9th century palace. It's Mattancherry Palace and Padmanapuram Palace, if you go both of them. I have taken here Padmanapuram Palace, which is in Tamil Nadu. And if you go there, you can see here the extreme state of Kerala and Tamil Nadu. Here is Padmanapuram Palace. And if you go to the topmost part of the palace, you climb slowly, you reach a chamber which is dedicated to Lord Vishnu as the ruler of that kingdom. So Travancore kingdoms used to rule them on behalf of Lord Vishnu. That's why it is known as Padmanabhapuram. Padmanabh is the name of Lord Vishnu. Vishnu, from whom the lotus blooms, from the navel of whom Nab means navel. So here you can see this bed is in figure 3. The bed is for Lord Vishnu. Nobody sleeps here. King doesn't rule in his name, but he was ruling in the name of the Lord Vishnu. And there you will, on the walls, you will find lot of pictures, mural pictures painted. And one of them has been prominently shown as Ram here and Sita here. They are being coronated along with his 3 brothers standing as a witness. So this is the kind of influence which this image of Ram Rajya has in Indian psyche and is shown in art and architecture and in all the places. Now, another picture which is reflected everywhere mostly is the figure of Ram's Darbar. Ram, Sita, Lakshman, and Hanuman. You can see it in many temples, whether it's modern temple, ancient temples. So one is coronation of Ram and Sita as king and queen, and another one is the depiction of Ram Darbar, means it's a symbolic representation of the welfare state which Ram created under his rule. No suffering was there. That's what is being told. And if anybody suffer, he would come and complain. And that's what one of the subjects did. And he indirectly made a complaint which has a bearing on the relation of Ram and Sita. And that's why Ram taking it as an indication that if he continues to behave in the way this gentleman has pointed out, may not be for the larger welfare of his kingdom. So he suffered himself, of course, his wife, and he suffered at the cost of a small pointing from a person. So in the art form, you see the narratives would be there. Like here in the figure one, you will see that there are different episodes which would be shown from the life of Ram. The whole story would be sent. But in the center, it would be the depiction of the Ram Darbar or the court of Rama with his brothers, especially with Lakshmana there, because he was devoted to Ram throughout his life, and Hanuman. Now I'll show you some other depictions also. I will again point out, Ram was born in Ayodhya. You all must be knowing it is in Uttar Pradesh. I have already shown one representation from Kerala, the southernmost state. And if you go to West Bengal, there is a temple in a place known as Kalna in Burdwan district, the Pratapeshwar temple. It has many carvings. One of them depicts again Ram Rajya. The dressings would change. The picturization will have some different bearings. The monkey god is now here, and the three brothers are here. But Ram and Sita are seated, depicting the concept of prosperity which occurred during the Ram Rajya. Similarly, if you go to Vijayanagara, another state in Karnataka, there are temples. This place is Hampi, where you can see on the pillars, again Sita, Ram sitting there. So in different temples in different places, Ram Rajya has been depicted because it has influenced in a great way, and it stays in the philosophical thought or experiential behavior of the Indians. In fact, if you go to the center of India, there is a place known as Orchha in Chhatarpur district. There also, in the medieval time, paintings are there. And here I have shown you again a photograph of Ram Rajya, Sita, Ram, his brothers, three brothers, and Hanuman and other Vanara kings. There Ram is worshipped as in one of the temples as Raja Ram, means King Ram. And every day he will be given salami, or the guns will be shot in his respect. So these concepts have been picked up by people, by the devotees, by the rulers during different time period, and they continue to influence the modern thinking also. When a devotee comes or a visitor comes, he sees these things regularly. And it also gives a connect, not in Indian context, but with humanity as a whole. I mean, Ram Rajya, the concepts are universal. It can be applied anywhere, be it India, be it America. There is no distinction between people. And this concept has been depicted in different art forms. Here you could say a clay panel, it's a painting of different place, on door panels, on decorative pieces. So Ram Rajya, whenever you come to India or you see it, is one of those features of Indian tradition, has high ideal value which have survived till date. So much so that there is a popular dhun, Raghupati Raghava Raja Ram, Patita Pavan Shitara. The Rama who came from the descendant of the Raghu, Raja Ram, King Ram, Patita Pavan Sitaram. With Sita, he takes care of his subject in such a way that nobody suffers there. And this influence was not localized in India only. I mean, it has been manifested in different way worldwide. But one very interesting influence has been that in Thailand, you find some 300, 400 years ago, there was a capital established, which is by the name of the Ayutthaya, similar to Ayodhya. So these traditions have traveled and they have influenced universally. And the kings there, they name themselves after the Rama. Rama 1, you can see one of the kings being depicted here in idol form. And King 10, Rama 10 is now ruling there. So that tradition is there. Why? It's a Buddhist country that way. I mean, it's not Hindu in that sense when you segregate belief system. But universality of the welfareness which was created by the ideals of the Rama can be seen here. And this is one example which you see, which has traveled far, far beyond where it has originated in Ayodhya. So if you see the modern Ayutthaya is now, I mean, the city Ayutthaya is now about 3,500 kilometers away from Ayutthaya, from the Ayodhya, the original place where Rama would have ruled. So the influence is tremendous. And we need to know about it, we need to preserve about it, and the universal value which are there needs to be celebrated as we do in our festivals, which I talked about, Deepavali or Diwali, which we call, which we have just celebrated. And it's not limited to only Indians. I mean, anybody shall celebrate these universal feasts. So I end my presentation with this message of Ram, that if Ram Rajya comes, which everybody aspires for, and if we follow the ideals which were practiced by Ram, which were so difficult to put one's own interest behind the larger interest of the society, the world will be a better place to live. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much, Rajesh Kumarji. Very nice point, because Sri Ram inspires us as a person whom we can follow, not copy, because it's difficult to copy Sri Ram, but we can at least follow. Impossible to copy him. And the point is like the Ram Rajya is being discussed everywhere. Everyone talks about Ram Rajya, that we need to have rule of Sri Ram. But if you look at the essential qualities of rule of Sri Ram, I have written a whole book on that, studied the whole Valmiki Ramayana. And one thing you will see, that he was very much, you can say that he was completely chivalrous. The rule of law was very prominent, and practically there were very strict rules. Like in fact, there is one episode where Sri Ram says the Manu Smriti was very strongly followed in Ayodhya, and nowadays there is a big campaign against Manu Smriti. So if you do not want to follow the culture of Sri Ram, how can you get Ram Rajya?
That's very true. And this tradition you can see even in Mahabharata when Bhishma tells Yudhishthira, Praja Sukhe Sukham Ragya, Praja Nam tu Hitam Hitam, Na Atma Priyam Ragya, Praja Nam tu Priyam Hitam. He tells that happiness of ruler lies in the happiness of the subject. The same thing which Valmiki also talked about. I discussed in the thing. It's not ruler whose interest matters. It's the interest of the people which matters. So that tradition is there, whether it is Ramayana and Mahabharata, and Chanakya also talks about it. So it's very easy to talk about everybody wants good thing, but nobody wants to practice that. That is the problem.
Yeah,
But we don't understand that it's a, I mean, what we does affects others and what others do affects us. So if all will do good thing, then world will be a better place.
very true, very true. Because we want the what do you call it, the emotional high of Ram Rajya, or we sometimes we just say in front of other people to impress others, and we're trying to just say that how idealistic we are. But the important components of Sri Ram Rajya, obviously, he learned from his father. Sri Ram is a teacher of everyone, but Dashrath Maharaj was the ideal implementer of Ram Rajya, where he ruled with a strong army. That's why it's called Ayodhya, which cannot be conquered by military. And also, the influence of Ayodhya was in the entire world, even during that time. Even during that.
Yes.
So, so we forget the rule of law, we forget the strong armies, forget all the hooliganism and riotism which goes on today. All those things were practically not possible in Ayodhya. People do not know that.
No, no, very true. I mean, there was no compromise on that aspect.
No
See, if
compromise.
Rama himself would not tolerate anything, that's why he would take so much of sacrifice so that nobody is allowed to create problem.
Yeah. And for Ravan, the kind of punishment Sri Ram gave to Ravan, that was an example of the whole for the whole world. That Ravan was 800 miles from the coast of India, southern coast of India. He went there inside and then killed Ravan. You know,
Yeah,
when,
that's very true.
when we talk about surgical strikes, this was the first surgical strike, very pointed towards the Ravan. So the we forget all these things, and we are living in a utopian world where Ram Rajya will come just by chanting Sri Ram's name. But if you look at the Ram's history, how much patience, how much preparation he did to defeat Adharma. What do you have to say on that?
Yes, yes, he did. I mean, the Aspsi, he went in search of Sita, but he also established friendship with Sugriv. He assessed the power of the Rama, and then he created the army, and he assigned role to everybody. It's not that he just went and fought with Ravana. Even Vibhishan was called, and he understood what strategies is there, what is the strength, what is the weakness, and then the fighters were identified. And you are very right that it's not that Rama was a great strategist also.
Very big.
See, he strategizes everything, and then he understood and he took his time to prepare for that, and then he went there to attack Ravana with full might.
Full might.
Full might.
Valmiki Ramayana says 1 trillion Vanara, approximately 1 trillion. And because the Ravan's army size was also big, and always the Rakshas always create a larger military force. This is the history of the world, whether it's a Mahabharata, Ramayana, or even if you look at recent wars, World War One, World War Two, people who are on the wrong side of history always focus more on military. But the people who are, Sri Ram matched it man to man, and then he landed there.
Yes, he mastered it, and I mean, he was an ideal human being. He didn't do anything which would not be justified. See, he was epitome of everything in all their skills, and that's why he's shown with bow and arrow.
Yeah.
It's not that he is sown with some
No, and
soft.
yeah, he was always wearing gloves. He was wearing kavach, always ready. Even in
He
Valva.
was, he was the protector of his subjects. That's why he is the ideal king.
Yeah.
Always ready to to do whatever is required, might or with moral right.
Yeah. And also to Rishi and Munis, he was very kind and very respectful. Very, very respectful to the Rishi Munis, Agastya Muni, Shadvringa Rishi, Sutikshana Rishi, Matanga Rishi, Matanga Rishi's disciple Shabri. Like all these people, he was so respectful that you just want to meet Sri Ram. People have been waiting for 12, like from the time of Chitrakoot when he was there, Shabari was waiting for him to come down south to meet him in the ashram, Pampa Sarovar. So, like an example, he said, and in Dandakaranya forest, which is a huge forest, even today by geographical standards, he traveled across the entire Dandakaranya forest on foot.
Yeah. I
So,
mean, that is the kind of patience, perseverance, investment one has to do to become an ideal king. It's not that you just inherit the post and become king or the ruler. It doesn't happen like that.
like his, Bhagavad Gita says, Yed yed acharati shreshthas, how the big people behave, the commonwealth will follow. Here,
Yes,
Sri
yes.
Ram sets up an example in morality, in bravery, in fighting skills, in diplomacy, and also Varta Varchasva. Even though he used to speak less, Dashrath Maharaj used to speak more. But he set up an example of diplomacy for rule of law, which is dharma. Like in every single sphere, he set up an example for everyone else.
And he also reminds those who used to forget their duty. You remember when Sugriv was enjoying himself, then he was reminded through Lakshmana and even the Sagar, Samudra. And Randhare Singh Dinkar wrote the क्षमा शोभती उस भुजंग को जिसके पास गरल हो उसको क्या जो दंतहीन विसरहित विनीत सरल हो.
That's
So Rama has that capability, but he will show his character in a way an ideal man, an ideal king shall show it.
his first meeting with Hanuman, he tells Lakshman, just simply by his words, I know that he has read all the Veda, Puran, Upanishad, all the he's well versed with Vedic knowledge. So how he recognizes people. Now we want to just get Ram Raje by moving some agarbatti, which is we have to learn other aspect of it also, because dharma is not just going into a puja room and just worshiping. That is important, but the other side is to learn about him, or how he did it.
That is more important. That's what is important. We have not read what's there, what we have inherited. I mean, it's a huge inheritance we have got, and we are trying to learn a bit. But if people will start learning, they will do benefit for themselves, and of course for the larger welfare of the society also.
Kshatriya doesn't mean hurdangabaj. Kshatriya means a very moral, very disciplined person, and like Sri Ram, because the discipline makes you a strong or worthy of being recognized as a follower of Sri Ram. Sri Ram was soft spoken but very strong, spoke very less. All the work was done by Lakshman. When he's angry, he doesn't say his words, but he hints to Lakshman. Lakshman gets a message. Lakshman takes it to Sugriv, says, "You have some limited time."
See, even Lakshman, who was younger, but what you said is very right. That though Lakshman was another very dedicated person, I mean, nobody would match him. Also, the kind of dedication he showed to Ram. But when in the ashram of the Sabri, he didn't, he refused to take the tasted bears or the fruit. Then Rama showed him that those very fruits became useful for him when he was hurt by the Meghanada. So these are not symbolism; these are real things. That see, nobody is great. Each individual has his own limitations. So there is no question of Hurdang being sown. And Kshatriyas, if you have to be a Kshatriya, you have to have those characters.
Yes.
Basically, and most important one is to preserve the society, the rule of the law in the land.
And that is dharma. And also Ram, Lakshman, Bharat, Shatrughna are one. If you look at the Rishi Shringa's prayers, then the Vishnu divided into four brothers. So it's one. So when people say to separate Shatrughna out of Lakshman and Lakshman out, it's not possible. They are one person divided into four, but the hero is Ram, Sri Ram. Anyway, thank you so much. And it's a real pleasure to speak with you. Ramayana is one topic we can go on and on. And believe me, I read from the history perspective. I read from the character, understanding the character perspective. And that's where I get into the nitty gritties. Like one example is lifting the bow. Sri Ram, when he lifts the bow, is deep concentration on the bow and then lift it with and he has so much power. Like in Sita Maya's one episode is very common. Janak Maharaj saw Sita lifting that big bow of Shiva with her left hand and doing brooming on under this thing. And that's how he said, I need a person who is worthy of Sita.
Right.
Which was not possible for other people. And Parshuram got angry. But anyway, that is a different episode we can take anytime. There is one video of Rajesh ji on Parshuram. Must watch, very popular video. And go to the YouTube and learn from what Parshuram and how Parshuram was defeated by Sri Ram in a second. It was virtually he snatched the dhanush from him by left hand, which was not possible for people to even hold by two hands. So anyway, we can
not even shake. Not to talk about holding it. They could not even shake some of them.
Shake. And Sri Ram just snatched it from the left hand.
Yeah.
Anyway, thank you so much, and all of you, and please this is a wonderful video. Do remember Sri Ram, but more important, what he represents and what qualities he had. We all can never become Sri Ram, but we can at least become a small squirrel with Sri Ram. Thank you so much. Namaste.
Thank you very much, Aditya ji and everybody. Thank you.